The story of Najashi, the righteous king of Abyssinia, the persecution of the believers in Mecca. In the heart of Arabia, the city of Mecca thrived under the rule of the Quraysh, a powerful tribe that guarded the Kaaba and upheld the traditions of their forefathers. The people worshipped idols, offered sacrifices to stone gods, and took pride in their lineage and wealth. Then came Muhammad, a man known among them as Al-Amin, the trustworthy. He began calling them to abandon their idols and worship Allah alone, the creator of the heavens and the earth. His message was simple: there is no God but Allah, and the people must turn away from oppression, injustice, and falsehood. But the leaders of Quraysh, men like Abu Jahl, Abu Lahab, and Umayyah ibn Khalaf, saw this new faith as a threat. They feared losing their authority, their wealth, and the prestige that came with controlling the pilgrimage to the Kaaba. So they resolved to silence the believers. The weak among the Muslims suffered the most. Bilal ibn Rabah, an African slave, was dragged into the scorching desert, a heavy stone placed upon his chest, as his master demanded he renounce Islam. Ammar ibn Yasir watched as his elderly parents, Sumayya and Yasir, were tortured to death for their faith. The persecution grew so severe that the believers could no longer endure it. The Prophet's counsel: migration to Abyssinia. Seeing the suffering of his followers, the Prophet Muhammad sought a way to protect them. He knew of a land ruled by a just king, a Christian monarch who did not tolerate oppression. This was Najashi, the Negus of Abyssinia. The Prophet gathered the believers and said, "If you were to go to Abyssinia, it would be better for you. There, a king rules who does not wrong anyone. It is a land of truth, and Allah will provide relief for you from what you are suffering." And so, in the year 615 CE, the first group of Muslims set out in secret, fleeing under the cover of night. Among them were Uthman ibn Affan and his wife Ruqayyah, the daughter of the Prophet. There was also Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, the cousin of the Prophet, a man known for his wisdom and eloquence. They boarded a ship that carried them across the Red Sea, seeking refuge in a land where they could worship Allah without fear. The Quraysh's pursuit. When the leaders of Quraysh discovered that some of the Muslims had escaped, they were furious. They could not allow this new faith to spread beyond their control. Determined to bring the fugitives back, they sent two of their most cunning diplomats, Amr ibn al-As and Abdullah ibn Abi Rabi'ah, to the court of Najashi, bearing lavish gifts of fine leather, precious jewels, and rare perfumes. Upon arriving in Abyssinia, the two emissaries first approached the bishops and nobles, distributing gifts and whispering warnings. "These people have abandoned the religion of their forefathers," they said. "They speak against our gods and have come to corrupt your land as well." The bishops, swayed by the gifts, agreed to support the Quraysh's plea. Together, they went before King Najashi, bowing in respect as they presented their case. "O king," began Amr ibn al-As, "a group of foolish rebels from our tribe have fled to your kingdom. They have rejected the faith of their ancestors and invented a new religion that neither we nor you follow. Their own people have sent us to retrieve them, for they are a danger to the order of the land." Najashi, a man of wisdom and justice, frowned. He did not like the idea of sending away people who had sought his protection without first hearing their side. The Muslims stand before the king. Najashi summoned the Muslims to his court. The believers entered with humility, their hearts firm in faith but uncertain of what awaited them. Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, chosen as their spokesman, stepped forward. The king looked at him and asked, "What is this religion that has separated you from your people, and why have you not accepted ours or any other?" Ja'far spoke with clarity and confidence. "O king, we were a people lost in ignorance. We worshipped idols, consumed the flesh of dead animals, and committed shameful deeds. We dishonored kinship, mistreated our neighbors, and the strong among us devoured the weak." He paused, then continued, "Then Allah sent to us a messenger from among ourselves, a man whose honesty and integrity we had always known. He called us to worship Allah alone and to renounce the stones and idols we once prayed to. He commanded us to speak the truth, to fulfill our trusts, to honor family ties, and to avoid what is forbidden. So we believed in him and followed him." Ja'far's voice grew firmer, "But our people turned against us. They tortured us, trying to force us back into disbelief. When oppression became unbearable, we sought refuge in your land, trusting in your justice and hoping to live in peace." Najashi listened intently, his expression thoughtful. Then he asked, "Do you have with you anything of what your prophet has brought from Allah?" Ja'far replied, "Yes." Najashi said, "Then recite it to me." The recitation of Surah Maryam. Ja'far began reciting from Surah Maryam, the chapter of the Quran that tells the story of the birth of Jesus and his mother, Mary. His voice was calm yet powerful as he reached the verses, "And mention in the book Mary when she withdrew from her family to an eastern place, and she took a screen apart from them. Then we sent to her our angel, and he took the form of a perfect man before her." As the words flowed, Najashi's eyes filled with tears. The bishops around him, hearing the description of the miraculous birth of Jesus, wept as well, their beards wet with emotion. When Ja'far finished, Najashi wiped his eyes and said, "Truly, these words and what was revealed to Jesus come from the same source." He turned to the Quraysh envoys and declared, "You may leave. By Allah, I will never surrender them to you." Amr ibn al-As, desperate, tried one last trick. "O king, they say terrible things about Jesus. Ask them what they believe." Najashi looked at Ja'far. "What do you say about Jesus, the son of Mary?" Ja'far replied, "We say of him what our prophet has taught us. He is the servant of Allah, his messenger, his word, which he bestowed upon Mary, and a spirit created by him." Najashi picked up a small stick from the ground and held it up. "By Allah, Jesus does not exceed what you have said by more than this stick." The bishops murmured in discontent, but Najashi silenced them. "You are safe in my land. Whoever insults you will pay dearly. I would rather not have a mountain of gold than harm a single one of you." Then he commanded the gifts of the Quraysh to be returned, saying, "Allah has not taken bribes to give me my kingdom, so why should I?" The aftermath and Najashi's conversion. The Muslims lived in peace in Abyssinia, protected by the king's justice. Years later, after the Muslims had established themselves in Medina, the Prophet Muhammad sent a letter to Najashi, inviting him to Islam. Najashi, who had already recognized the truth, accepted Islam wholeheartedly. He wrote back to the Prophet, declaring his faith. However, he kept his conversion hidden from his people, knowing the political turmoil it might cause. When Najashi died, the Prophet Muhammad gathered his companions in Medina and said, "A righteous man has died today. Come, let us pray for him." They performed the funeral prayer in absence, a rare honor, confirming Najashi's place among the believers.